Before I start this video, I must mention big thanks to my Patreons. I do a fair bit to this knife that significantly lowers, if not destroys, the resale value of it. And if not for Patreon patrons, I probably wouldn't have the sand to do that sort of thing, because this is like a $190 knife. And it is probably worth about $50 now. You'll see why at the end, how much you have to do to this thing. So thanks, and if you do want to contribute, then that's the good way to do it if you like what I do. So awesome. I won't nag you about it. I'll nag you about it once a month maybe, tops. All right, thanks guys. Hi, this is the steel wheel Modus. This video is about the edge test that I've done on it. So I bought this knife because it's $189 for M390, made in Italy. I thought that is a good price. In Australia, that's a good price for M390 on anything. This is one of the M390, in my opinion, is one of the best blade steels you can get. It's really, really balanced. It's got good edge retention, good toughness, and good stain resistance. So it's excellent steel. So I thought, good, another benchmark for my collection, like another steel test, and hopefully a great little knife as well. And to be honest, when I got it, I was like, this is a great little knife. The action's excellent, the ergonomics are excellent, it's really, really well put together. It drops shut, the pocket clip's a little bit stiff, but it's all well and good really, it does its job, and it'll probably loosen up over time. It's a liner locking knife, the liners are nested. Overall, a really, really slick package. Really comfortable knife to use and wield. Got a pretty nice high flat grind on the blade. And as I said, M390. I've kept it as much as I could, apart from when my phone started going flat. Actually, when my phone started going flat, I even dragged the table closer to the charger. I wanted to keep this, once I realized there was something a bit strange here, I wanted to keep it like one long take. I've sped it up from time to time, obviously, because otherwise it'd be an hour and a half or so. But yeah, I tested the factory edge, and then I put what would normally be an unleashed edge on this steel. So without much further talking, look, this is my experience with this one knife. There's other very positive reviews on this knife. So, you know, don't take this as, you know, the gospel about the whole thing, but, you know, you watch these reviews to get different opinions or different experiences. So this is my experience with the steel wheel Modus. So the real steel Modus M390 factory edge cut test. So start off slicing paper, no worries. See how much rubber cuts. So that's 40 cuts with the M390 factory edge from slicing paper to knot. Let's put a nice 20-degree lance gauge on it, like I do with all my other knives, and see how that does. Factory edges often are a little bit broad because they're just done with the grinders in the factory, so they can be about 25 degrees. They stay working sharp for a long time, but lose this kind of sharpness done testing perhaps. So we'll do that. Alright, so we're going to try a resharpen of that one, because that didn't go well at all. Just going to go back to the same angle, 20 degrees. I'll look at it under the magnifying glass and make sure that it's all good. Still very sharp at the end that I didn't use, but from here upwards, lost the edge very quickly. There wasn't a burr on it, I could see that quite clearly. And that's what I do, towards the end I'll straighten the burr using just single passes on each side, and then the leather strop does the trick, especially with the cutting compound that I'm using. So, but I'll give it another go and see if I can get a better result next time. Alrighty, so that's 89, and that's with the repeat edge perhaps taken a little bit finer, felt a little bit sharper at the start. It was push cutting that rope a bit better at the start. Yeah, the M390 from the Wii company with this edge on a thicker stocked knife did 405 cuts-ish. The line stills with a work sharp edge did over 339, I think. So this shouldn't be performing this low. So yeah, very, very interesting. It's still super sharp down the end that I didn't use, but yeah, from this point upwards, it's really sort of starting to fluff that paper out. And this is quite a, it's quite a high grind. It's a flat grind. It should be doing better, much better. But all I can do is test one knife, so you can all draw your own conclusions from here, I guess. I was just curious about the origins of the knife. It's an Italian-made knife, according to both the knife and the box, and I think the M390 ones are. So I just sent them a message asking just which company makes it, just out of curiosity, because Fox Knives, Technocut, Lion Steel, Viper, no, not Viper. There's a few good Italian manufacturers, so I just kind of sent one to ask, and weren't too keen on discussing it much about the origins of it, so I can't really chase up there particularly. So yeah, just a bit of an interesting one. I feel like I gave the steel a fair shake. The factory edge, never expect too much, that's fine. When I took the medium stone to it, I noticed the factory edge was more or less at this degree. I didn't have to heighten it too much. It did heighten a little bit, but not too much. So yeah, the factory edge did 50 odd, and then from between 70 to late 80s on M390 isn't particularly ideal. As far as my test goes, you think what you will about my test, but I think it generally, that's such a huge difference. Even, say if it got to like 230 or, 200 even, you think, oh yeah, that's still like obviously a good steel. Maybe it's just, the butterfly effect or whatever. But yeah, for me to put a really high polished edge that most importantly is crazy sharp when I start, like shaving hair, curling paper, for it to then get reduced to, a quite short performance, without particularly, and some knives I really have to saw through the rope, and I think that's what might wear them out a bit more. But with this one, it was actually push cutting really, really well for the first little bit, and then it kind of just stopped and ran out. So, what do you reckon? Think it probably needs I probably need to buy a second one and have a go with that and see what the word on the next batch of steel is maybe. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Fuck it, let's try work sharp edge as well. While we're here. Fuck it, let's put it on the Tormek. While we're here. Alrighty, so I've put a much higher, I'd say about a 15-degree edge on this with the Tormek, and it has really lengthened that bevel out a little bit, but we're going to see what I can get this to do. It's got a reasonable polish on it. It's not pretty anymore, but I can fix that later on the Lansky again. But yeah, just for getting that performance, let's see what I can do. So putting the edge up to like 15 degrees on the Tormek got me a bit of a better result. Just a taller, narrower bevel will cut for longer in my experience, but it still only got me to 95 cuts. Definitely no burring. The Tormek is great at getting burrs off. I just don't think I've had much luck with this knife. Okay, what about a toothy 17-degree Lansky diamond edge? That's one I haven't tried yet. Alright, got it up to 100 cuts with a really toothy 17-degree bevel. So I stopped at the 600 grit diamond stone and then gave it a bit of a strop with the Jusco compound to get off what was a pretty noticeable burr, having changed the angle like that. Best result so far, and very strange for M390, which generally performs as good with a polished rather than with a toothy, but the toothy in this one outperformed the polished by a fair margin. although it was at a higher angle too. So 17 degrees, toothy edge, best one for this knife apparently. Alrighty, so it's funny, I kept shooting this video and then extending it because I thought of another way I could try and get a good result from this steel. So, in conclusion, factory edge, 50 cuts. These numbers might be slightly off, but you've just watched the video, so you get the idea. Factory edge was 50 cuts, which, fair enough. Factory edges aren't always the best. They're often made to be, sharp and durable. That's fine. Then the Lansky edge at 20 degrees, I did that twice because the first one was 79, the next one was mid-80s or so. So that's a 20 degree polished, like a mirror polished Lansky edge. Got me 80 cuts with this knife here. Then I did a work sharp edge on it, which took me back down to about 50. And all these edges, shaved hair and sliced paper in curls off paper every time. And then after that, I did a Tormek edge. So I took it really, really thin, up to about 15 degrees on the Tormek. And then that did about the same, but then 15 degrees is getting pretty thin. Maybe it's too thin stability-wise. That got I got a, was it mid-90s result, so I thought, oh, this is good. Tormek's a bit toothy, so then I thought, well, I'll put on a proper angled, like a more precise angled toothy edge using the Lansky, so then I pushed it back even more, and then it's currently wearing a 17 degree Lansky edge that is toothy because I stopped at 600 grit on a diamond, and it feels toothy, and it cuts toothy, and that's got the best result so far. That got up to 100. But 100 is way off what M390 has pulled for me in the past using other brands, other steels and whatnot. So not super happy with that at all. I think I've given this knife a fair shake. It's been through a fair bit just to try and get the maximum performance out of the steel. But I think I'm done there. I think I'm done. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, thanks to the Patreons. Really does take the fear out of ruining a knife for the sake of all of your information, I guess. But even with that said, remember, this is just one guy with one knife. It doesn't mean steel wheel are bastards who are don't immediately think the wrong thing. But there is something going on with this particular blade. That is for sure. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye now.